It's an everyday thing. It's an everyday thing. It's an everyday thing when you let your nuts hang.
He is in the bed, sleep. I get his phone. I ain't gonna lie. I got his phone. He had a work phone and he had a personal phone. It was the work phone that he had from the condiment company that apparently was never turned in. But he did not wipe the phone, if y'all know what I mean. And I see this would have been text messages. Text messages between him and a woman named Peaches. I'm reading the thread because he's knocked out sleep. So I'm in the bathroom with the door locked, reading the thread. Apparently Peaches, there's no nice way to say it. Apparently Peaches was a prostitute. In the text messages, she's listing the prices. He asked for a hand job. She told him it would be like $40. He asked how much would it be for oral, because it was $60 and $80. One was the price with the condom, one was the price without one.
The story that she told about finding something in my phone, no. Me and my coworker that I work with every day, Richard, I grabbed his phone, he grabbed mine, because we didn't keep case on the phone. We had the same exact, everybody had the same exact iPhone. I picked his up off the desk, went home. He had some mistress call his phone, and that's when I realized it wasn't my phone. So I hit him on his line. I said, somebody calling your phone. And he's like, yeah, we switched phones. I need to come get my phone. And I was like, well, you can come get it, or I'll give it to you at work tomorrow. So I met him at work the next day. He was like, yo, like, I'm sorry, it's my side chick, whatever. And I'm like, bro, I don't want to know nothing about that. Just take your phone. And I just quoted company policy. You know that we're not supposed to use these for personal use. So because those company phones, you got a different iCloud, but the HR has that iCloud, so they can see your messages. So at that point, I get home. She tell me I went through the phone or whatever, because we weren't allowed to lock those phones either. So she went through the phone. I guess he was sending messages to the mistress or whoever, and then she assumed it was me. And I'm like, no, that's him and whatever. And he actually came over and told her, hey, look, I'm apologize. That's a chick I'm dealing with on the side. Like, he explained that. So
that's the story about Peaches, right?
Yeah, that's some chick he was messing with. That's some chick he was messing with.
So you already talked about that and reconciled that.
Yeah, the only reason I had contact with her is because afterwards, one day I was getting off work and she was in the parking lot looking for him. And I just told her, like, you gotta get out of here for security show, because we had a secure parking lot, and I'm like, you gotta get out of here before they get here. And that's the only contact I ever had with her. I found out later that she didn't take the promotion because her and the guy, that would have cut into the time they were spending time together. Because she used to tell her mom that I was never home. I leave the house 6 o'clock in the morning. I'll be home 2:45. So she worked till like 3:30. I wouldn't see her till 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. She'd be like, I'm at work. It was all signs, but I ignored them because she was my wife, and I'm just saying she's trying to work hard. But your hours didn't match, because she would get paid, and they would give her a stub. They do the direct deposit, but she would get a stub. Now I had access to her account. She had access to the two that I let her know about, so I would see the stub, and the hours would add up. And then you saying you're making more money because you're working hours, but your hours were the same. Her schedule never changed. She didn't do any overtime. She didn't have to work over on special projects. None of that.
Pretty much everything we talked about so far is a lie, according to what you're saying.
Unfortunately, yes. Why this? In my opinion, this was done simply because I left. I said enough is enough.
But why so long? But why so long though? Because you left a long time ago. It wasn't like it was yesterday.
You'd have to ask her. When I left the situation, it ain't no secret, I said to people before, I called friends of mine, friends back in California, talked to both my brothers, or they're not my brothers, but we're just gonna say Miguel and Elgin. But I talked to them because they were my confidants. Another friend of mine, we talked. Another buddy of mine, Omar, we talked. And it was just, the consensus was that I couldn't do it anymore. I called her cheating. It was too much. I talked to the guy's wife. She had caught them. She showed me video of them two in the house together. Everything. Her, if she was ever wrong, anything. She kept talking about a work phone. and all this stuff. And I'm like, I gotta have 2 phones for work because I'm not gonna. It's just my job. The nature of my job, I had to have 2 phones. Simple as that. She had a password to both of them.
It is very hard to comprehend that.
Wait a minute. Okay. If she had the password to both phones, I thought the phones couldn't be locked. Like, I just had to point that out right then and there because you can catch the man in his lies. Like, it's just, you can, if you listen to it enough, you'll hear the contradictions.
Everything is a lie. Like, there has to be something that's true. Still July of 2021. I finished going through the book bag. There were some other folders with papers in there. He had left the work phone. What I actually found out was that it was not a work phone. It was simply a secondary personal phone. He told me it was a work phone. I thought that the company was paying for the work phone, but I found receipts where it was a prepaid phone and he's paying to add minutes to it. So it's just receipts of, you added minutes to the phone on this date, you added minutes on that date. Work phone, whole thing, that was a bold-faced lie. Obviously it was a lie because, as we now know, he was a forklift loader.
Were you ever like a forklift driver? That's what somebody was mentioning.
The charity work that I used to do, I got a forklift license. Because the charity work used to do, they load the trucks and they send them to disaster areas. They feed the homeless. So I learned to drive a forklift doing that kind of work. And then I got a license to do it. I even got a license to train other people to do it. But that was charity work. That's me doing charity work, me feeding homeless, me helping people out. And I just wanted to do something. My mom was that kind of person. And for me, it just made me feel good. It wasn't about recognition. It's just something that made me feel good.
You talking about the picture? You talking about a picture?
Yeah, it was a warehouse because they pack up food to give to disaster areas. So yeah, you got to wear a hairnet. And that particular picture where I had it on my face, we were just playing around that day.
Because I did see something where somebody was mentioning they work with you as a forklift driver, and that you said, hey, I don't even have to be here. I have enough money to where I don't need to work, but I'm just doing this to just have something to do. A
lot of people, Teresa, got roped in on this story and lie. Unfortunately, this started. I left her. She didn't contact me, and we went through a whole year. I ain't hear nothing from her. Divorce was final. Everything she got what she got out of it, which was I left her with 10 grand, and she can do what she can do with her car. That was it. Clean break. We were done. Wasn't nothing, no fight, no argument, nothing. I told her I couldn't do it no more. Went down, got last month. I told her I'd be back for the rest of my stuff. And it was at her crib, and that was it. I was done. It did not work for me. And instead of trying to make it work, I just said enough is enough. And I left. She agreed. We actually shook hands. She hugged me. Told me, take care of myself, stay in contact. And I honestly said to her, I'm not going to do that. I told her to take care of herself. And I told her my best advice for her is please financially get yourself together. That's the very last conversation we had. So get yourself together financially, because I didn't mind taking care of you. But at some point, the deal was you were going to step it up, and you didn't do that. The cheating part, that was too much to deal with. If I would have still been married to her and I'm still paying bills today, I still would have been working with her to take care of that if it needed to be. Because when you got a wife, that's what you're supposed to do. But the cheating, then you go into the marriage council, you're not admitting anything. You still trying to place the blame. You keep talking about this, talking about that. You ignoring the real truth. Did I hide money from her? Yes, I did.
So what was the point of the marriage counseling then? If you knew, hey, I'm done with you.
I was trying to save the marriage, honestly. I was. I get, like, honestly, I guess I can say, hey, I wanted to forgive her because I wanted it to work. But after, you don't want to admit to anything, you're not wrong. You don't believe that you're ever wrong. It's not going to work. And once that happened, I left. That was it. My birthday was coming up. I just left. I took a trip. I came up north, saw some family, came back down, found a job, and was on my way back up. The paperwork was in. Then she went and filed on her own and got the divorce, which is fine with me.
So she filed.
Yeah, I filed, but I didn't finish because I was in a car accident.
Okay.
When I was moving back up, when I was my last trip coming back up here, I was in a car accident. So I was in a hospital. I went to someone's wedding. Went to a buddy of mine's wedding. I was an accident. I was injured pretty badly, and I had to get You had to get 4 surgeries and learn to walk again and do all that.
But you weren't with her at the time. She wouldn't have like used that as an example to what you were talking about with your knee.
She knew about me being in the hospital. I was in an accident because at the time on my medical paperwork, she was still listed as my wife. So they kept her in a loop until I told the doctor and the social worker that we were no longer married, and they stopped contacting her.
Family. He had his sister, Shantae, who lived in Douglasville. Like I said, she was married with 2 kids. Apparently she was a nurse. So when I had my miscarriage, that was a sister that he was like, my sister will take you to the hospital. Like, that's what family does. I've been around him when he was on the phone with Shantae. Never heard her part of the conversation. He would be talking to his sister. That's what he said. That's what it sounded like, too. We lived maybe 35, 40 minutes away from Douglasville. So there were plenty of times that he had invited me to go with him to his sister's house. The first time he invited me, I was like, nah, I ain't going because, again, COVID. And she's a nurse. Hell no. The second time, he was like, yeah, she invited us, but I don't think we should go because COVID. The third time, I agreed to go. I was like, absolutely, I'll go meet your sister. Like, that'd be great. On our way to her house, to Douglasville, to go see the sister. Apparently he got a phone call. The phone was always like on vibrate. He told me that something came up, and so she had to cancel the barbecue to get together, whatever. And so I was just like, oh man, okay, well, hopefully we can go another time.
Shantae, is that a real person?
She kind of like, she's not my sister, but I call her my sister. She's a good friend of mine.
What about the 2 different socials? Did you have a different social that you put on the marriage license versus when you showed her the first time? They
wouldn't give you a marriage license. You put a different social security number on there. They would find out about it and they would issue a warrant for your arrest the minute you do that. There was never no 2 different social security numbers. Same old social security number. Never put 2 on there, none of that.
So the social that was on the marriage license, for example, was probably 1, 2, 3. What was on the background was 4, 5, 6. So when I saw his social on my background, I immediately knew that was a different social than what I saw on the marriage license. And when I compared, because I had found a copy of the marriage license that we turned in because I had filled it out on the computer. So sure enough, the first 3 numbers were different.
She mentioned that you had 2 different licenses, and one license was to a cemetery. The address was to the cemetery.
Nope. Same license. I still got that license now. Same license, Douglasville. I haven't even changed my license up here. Yeah, I've actually processed doing that now. Still same license. Never had a different license. Only license I had other than that was the California license and that address. That's it.
But was the cemetery story real, that you drove her to the cemetery and explained anything about that?
Never showed her where my parents were buried because my parents both were cremated. Ashes are at my brother's house. They don't have a gravestone. Only my grandfather and grandmother did.
So a few weeks later, we go out to eat at this restaurant in Atlanta. As we are leaving, he says to me, did I ever show you where my grandmother's buried? This is the grandmother that passed away from COVID in 2020. And so he was like, let me show you. So he drives us to the cemetery, which is not far from the restaurant. And he was like, you see the headstone? The headstone had like the family name on it. There were no dates on it. So it reminded me of just a headstone where it was probably multiple family members. And so he was like, my grandfather and my grandmother are buried there. I do recall him telling me when the grandmother died in 2020 that she wanted to be buried next to his grandfather. I've also verified that your grandmother actually died in 2008 and not in 2020 from COVID. I have no idea who that man is in my guest bedroom.
So just to go back on that, when you said they're at your brother's house. So the brother that you were talking to, these are just like friends. These are friends that you call brothers, but your actual brother you don't really speak to.
We speak here and there, but not really. When our parents died, we all kind of went our separate ways because my parents really preached for us to be a family. But my parents, when they went their separate ways, my brothers, I guess we fell apart. I guess the best way I can put it to you. Not because any of us did anything to anybody. My brother Chris is a really good dude. He been through a lot. Dude has been to war, so I can imagine what that must be like. Well, I can't imagine what that's been like for him. And he went through some stuff. He went through a messed up divorce. He's a dedicated father to his daughter, and for a guy who you see your daughter every day and then not being able to see your daughter every day, I don't know. I can't imagine what that would be like for him. And for him, he made moves that he wanted to make. And he's my big brother, and I respect him and love him. So I had to respect him for it. He took his space from me and my brother, and I had to respect it.
He's telling the family that I kicked.
What it do, everyday people, man? It's your boy PJ. Today we back with another lit video. We back in the confessional. Yes, we stay in lit, big dog, man. Shout out to my everyday people who rock with me every day. Shout out to my homeboy Lucky Wizard Deals. He keeps it lit. Make sure y'all subscribe to his channel. Like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Hit the link down below for HiveMindLabs.com. Use the discount code everydaypj at checkout. Now let's get into it, man. See, it's this the type of stuff to make you want to scratch your head. When you listen to his lies, his contradicting stories. But then he also says Teresa's never wrong. ReesaTeesa is never wrong. Neither are you. But earlier in the video, the interview, he confirmed with his now girlfriend, like, I'm always wrong, right? You're always wrong. But in this case, everything you do is right. Everything you do is on key. Nothing you do is out of the norm. Everything Teresa does is out of the norm. Teresa says, you have parents here. You like, I know I didn't. Teresa says, we drove to the grave. You said, no, I didn't. Teresa says, both of y'all are fat. Like, no, I wasn't. So, basically, either Teresa is making up every single thing in this video, and if you tell your side of the story, you seem like the perfect husband, the perfect gentleman, not the cheater, not the mental abuser, not the compulsive liar. Nobody is who they say they is. You have, I forgot who was mentioned in this one, but Peaches is your co-worker's mistress. It wasn't listen, first of all, I could understand everybody having the same work phone. But understand this. When all the phones are together, listen, we used to have these pads, these little touch keypads when I drove trucks. When I drove trucks, we had these touch keypads. We could sit one down, but you pick yours up, you hit a few buttons, you know it's yours. Okay? We also had work phones. I sit mine down, my coworker sit his down. We wasn't mixing those up. We had, I think we had the big Samsung Notes. When the Samsung Note first came out, we had those as work phones. So we did our work from those, and we could download apps and Instagram. So it was the people that was cheating, had they side chicks and everything on their work phone. So I can see that, but I can't see mixing them up. Not mixing it up enough to take it home, because why y'all sitting y'all phones down together? We could sit our phones down because, of course, at work there's multi-charging stations if you wanted to. Ours was already charged it from home, but you could sit it down, charge it up. But when you pick it up, you look at it. This mine. All right, this mine. I'm out. So a lot of it, I just can't believe. I just can't believe every single thing he says. Some of it could be true, but it's just too good to be true. You know when somebody tells you, hey, this just sounds too good to be true. ReesaTeesa's story is so jacked up, we believe it, but when you hear his story, you be like, man, her story's just too jacked up. How can I believe something that's just that bad? That somebody. But then you hear his story and you think about it, like, so that was your friend. You don't know Junebug. It was your friend's phone. Peaches is the only time you had contact with Peaches was in the deal when he was looking for the friend and all this. You drove a forklift for charity, dude? Really? Nigga, is that the excuse you came up with? Bro, first of all, if you're driving a forklift for charity, right? What do you need to train somebody for? What do you need to be certified to train somebody for? You're doing it for charity, not a full-time job. Maybe once every other weekend, once a month. You did it for your soul though, right? Yeah. I don't believe it, man. It's just, this story is just too wild. And the contradicting lies. He says one thing, then he turns around and says another. He was at work, but then he didn't work. Then he was like, he started talking about ReesaTeesa and about him getting into a car accident. He went on some little spiel about having a car accident from driving from Philly, and he was off work for a while and had to learn how to walk again and all this stuff. And ReesaTeesa, she should know, but she shouldn't know because they weren't together. Dog, your timeline is jacked up. It's jacked up. Anyway, he got a lie to keep lying. Everyday people, let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm gonna holler at you later. Peace.